Viewers, there was a time when Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal was a crusader against corruption. He was willing to give up his life to ensure that Indian politics was cleansed of this scourge. And at times, he even came perilously close to sacrificing his everything. At least that's what his collapsing vital signs told us when he went on a Gandhian-like fast unto death, demanding accountability from the Congress. That was 2010. 4 years later, in January 2014, that is 10 years ago, a decade ago, he declared himself an anarchist as he resorted to undertaking a sit-in outside the Rail Bhavan in the capital. Kejriwal said he wouldn't budge till then Union Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde didn't quit for the latter's alleged involvement in a transfer posting racket involving senior police officers in the capital. At the time, the Moral Authority of India Against Corruption movement, led by Kejriwal's mentor Anna Hazare, had bent the corruption-tainted steel frame of the UPA government into submission. Today, in a profound alleged erosion of personal integrity, that same Kejriwal is being accused of presiding over a party founded by him, but hollowed out by the blight of corruption. The indictment has been passed by no less an authority than the Delhi High Court, and within 24 hours of the welts imparted on the AAP's body politic by Justice Sharma's lashing, a minister from the Delhi government led by jailed Delhi Chief Minister Kejriwal has quit. Raj Kumar Anand may have been in the shadows, not given to hogging the limelight like others in AAP, but he certainly has emerged from them to shine the torch of probity upon his party and colleagues. Anand says that after the Delhi High Court's verdict, his conscience doesn't allow him to continue in the party that was founded on the principle of eradicating graft. Listen in.
आम आदमी पार्टी का जन्म ही भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ आंदोलन से हुआ था, लेकिन आज ये पार्टी खुद भ्रष्टाचार के दलदल में फंस चुकी है। मेरे लिए मंत्री पद पर रहकर इस सरकार में काम करना असहज हो गया है। मैं अब इस पार्टी, इस सरकार और अपने मंत्री पद से इस्तीफा दे रहा हूं, क्योंकि मैं इन भ्रष्ट आचरणों में अपना नाम नहीं जुड़वाना चाहता। इस पार्टी में दलित विधायक, पार्षद और मंत्री का कोई सम्मान नहीं है। इनके अग्रणी जो नेता हैं उनमें कोई भी दलित नहीं है, कोई भी संगठन में दलित नहीं है। जो ऊंचे संगठन है, किसी राज्य का प्रभारी दलित नहीं है। ऐसे हालात में सब अपने आप को, सभी दलित प्रतिनिधि अपने आप को ठगा हुआ महसूस करते हैं। कल से पहले ऐसा लग रहा था कि हमें फंसाया जा रहा है, लेकिन कल जब हाईकोर्ट का जो डिसीजन आया है, हाईकोर्ट ने जो कैटेगरिकली बोला है, उससे ऐसा लगा कि कहीं ना कहीं हमारे यहाँ गड़बड़ है।
Well, Anand has clearly hit a wall. The Aam Aadmi Party, of course, has turned around and says that he is running scared because he was raided by the Enforcement Directorate a few weeks ago. And therefore, he is also on his way to joining the Bharatiya Janata Party. Anand has come out and said that that is a patent lie. He is not joining the BJP. He is giving up because, as he said, his conscience is pricking him. It's of course not just Kejriwal, but other senior leaders who are facing serious charges of siphoning off public money or misappropriating wealth. We all know the Arvind Kejriwal matter, but before him, Manish Sisodia. Again, the same Delhi excise policy case. He's still in custody. It's been more than a year. Sanjay Singh, Delhi excise policy. He's of course out on bail, as we know. The ED says they don't want to pursue the matter. Satyendra Jain, money laundering is the exact charge against him. He's also in custody and it's been more than a year. Kailash Gehlot, again, the same Delhi excise policy. He was summoned by the Enforcement Directorate. Of course, he hasn't quit, viewers. Amit Ratan Kotfata, AAP MLA Bhatinda, he has a bribery case against him. He's out on bail. Vijay Singla, ex-Punjab Health Minister, disproportionate assets case against him. He's also out on bail. Now, viewers, let me tell you, unfortunately for AAP, it isn't just the agencies who are making the allegations. Kejriwal has been exposed by some from within his own inner circle in the past. We are talking about Prashant Bhushan, Yogendra Yadav, Kumar Vishwas. We are talking about Ashutosh. All broke away, saying that Kejriwal had strayed far from the idealism, from that original idealism that underwrote a movement for change. Should now Kejriwal take moral onus for the AAP slide into the sludge of corruption that he once said only sticks to other weaker parties, other morally bankrupt parties? Fundamental question. The wielder of the broom today is in danger of getting swept away by the tide of corruption lapping at the AAP's door. Perhaps Kejriwal needs to take inspiration from the anarchist, as he once described himself, of 2014, who quit office just 49 days from assuming the post of Chief Minister. Kejriwal has then blamed his decision upon the stiff resistance he was facing from the Congress and the Bharatiya Janata Party to his anti-corruption efforts, as he called them. What the AAP perhaps need is the ultimate sacrifice today, viewers. And many people are saying that the time has come, that its own leader sacrifices himself to save his party from becoming like the others he so despises. Fundamental question, and we pose it tonight, viewers. And let me first begin with Piyush Joshi, a sympathizer of the Aam Aadmi Party. He will go up against Dr. Anand Ranganathan first off. Now, Mr. Joshi, this is a serious issue, the High Court. Forget about Mr. Anand for a moment. This is a serious indictment, and the Supreme Court is also sort of not leaping to bail out, so to speak, Mr. Kejriwal. It's not besides itself with anguish to set an immediate date to hear the pleadings of Mr. Kejriwal. Now, had the High Court not said what it said, one could still have given Mr. Kejriwal benefit of doubt. But now, after what the High Court has said yesterday, should Mr. Kejriwal take onus, moral onus, and step down?
Well, Rahulji, you started by saying that it is time for the Aam Aadmi Party for the ultimate sacrifice, and the convener of the Aam Aadmi Party should sacrifice himself. I will say it is a stupid bravado, and I don't think it should happen, because Mr. Kejriwal is the face of the party. Mr. Kejriwal is the person because of whom the party has won in 2 states. And Mr. Kejriwal, for each and every person who believes in the ideology of Aam Aadmi Party, the ideology of education, the ideology of good and quality healthcare, I think Mr. Kejriwal is the face of that kind of politics. As far as these charges are concerned, charges can always be put on, aspersions can always be cast. Ultimately, it is the law of the land which will prevail at the end of the day. Justice will prevail, and the final judgments will come.
Okay.
But 2 years down the line, all we are talking about are the observations and observations and observations. Not a single judgment has been pronounced in the excise policy. So I think I'll wait for the final judgment. Meanwhile, the only problem that probably the only question that I have.
Can I ask you a small question?
Yes, please.
Mr. Joshi.
Yes, please.
Why then did Mr. Kejriwal describe himself famously as an anarchist, organize a massive sit-in, demand the resignation a few years ago? I'm actually going back now to 2014. The then Union Home Minister, Mr. Shinde, for being merely involved, allegedly, in some sort of transfer and posting racket. Now, he wanted Shinde to hold himself to a certain level of accountability Does that not apply to Mr. Kejriwal?
It does apply to Mr. Kejriwal. It did apply to Mr. Kejriwal, and that is why he resigned after the 14 days of his chief ministership in his first term. But now, now we are seeing an unprecedented assault on the opposition parties, where when you talk of constitutional bodies, they are being blatantly misused by the government.
No, but how?
So these are extraordinary
because
times.
The amendments made to the PMLA Act, Mr. Joshi, were made not by this government, were made by the Congress party. You know this.
We all know about the 2023 changes as well in the PMLA Act.
But those are not the ones that are denying liberty to Satyendra Jain or Mr. Kejriwal. You know that also.
Well. I agree with you, but to bring back to the point of morality.
No. You see, if you agree with me, then you also have to agree with another point. You see, those changes were wrought by an under pressure UPA government. Why? Who was breathing down its neck? It was Mr. Kejriwal. He said that we must make the acts more stringent. If you don't, you have no moral authority to continue in office. I will starve myself at Jantar Mantar and kill myself. That's what he said. So it was because of people like him that these acts were made more so-called draconian, unquote, quote, as you would say.
What was the biggest plank and the most important plank of the Anna Andolan? Yes. That was basically the formation of an independent Lokpal. Constitutional body should be appointed independently. Do we see that happening? Do we see that in case of CVC? Do we see that in case of...
But Mr. Kejriwal has not resigned. Anna Hazare came back and said, Kejriwal, you have not resigned. You have become part of that system. Let me open this up.
He is part of the battle. He is not part of the system. He is part of the battle against the onslaught against opposition.
Then you have to ask why the High Court, said what it said. And should I repeat?
Come on, Rahulji, it is an observation.
It's not an observation. It's been written into the order, sir.
Yeah, it is an observation. So observation can be mentioned into the order. It's not a judgment.
Okay, so the observation says, prima facie, there is material evidence to show that Kejriwal is a key conspirator. Material evidence. An observation has not been made with...
At the face of it.
Yeah, but they have looked at it, no? There is something that the ED has been able to...
That's why they have not pronounced the final judgment.
Okay, fair enough, sir. Fair enough. Okay. So, different yardstick, viewers, applies to everyone else except for Mr. Kejriwal. In fact, let me tell you, 2 of his own cabinet ministers have resigned their portfolios. Yes, that has also happened. Let me bring in...
Times call for extraordinary measures. That's it.
Okay. So, those were not extraordinary times 6 months ago. Right. Okay. Well, maybe the extraordinary measure that Mr. Kejriwal will take is to name Saurabh Bhardwaj and Atishi Marlena and shove them under the bus. Oh, in fact, I think he did that. Did he not?
Is not going to be successful anymore. Food Dalo Raj Karo is not going to be successful anymore. It's a two-year-old statement. Come on.
Okay. Dr. Ranganathan wants to come in. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan. What would you say today to those who are saying that Kejriwal has lost the moral authority to govern?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I'm sorry, but when did he have the moral authority? The AAP minister has gained 4.5 kilos of weight by resigning today. This is the same 4.5 kilos that Kejriwal lost last week, that I call the weight of his conscience. And I'm glad that finally it is proven after 1,000 years of scientific investigation that conscience can leave a human being and enter another. But this had to happen. But before I talk about facts, I must say this openly. I have great respect for Dr. Joshi because he's a COVID warrior. He saved lives and I'm eternally grateful for that. And people make mistakes. I mean, they get married, they support Aam Aadmi Party. So I'm not blaming him at all. But the fact that he talks about that this is not a judgment. I'm sorry, Dr. Joshi, in denying the bail, this is the judgment. This is not a judgment whether Kejriwal is overall guilty or not. But the court has denied him bail. The court had said the arrest is not illegal and it has based it on this. So the evidence is overwhelming and sooner or later, Rahul, it had to overwhelm even those in the Aam Aadmi Party. Other than the fact that none other than the High Court has claimed that Kejriwal court conspired to use and conceal the proceeds of crime. Here are the details from the CAG report. Let us not dismiss the CAG report because it was Kejriwal 10 years ago that on the basis of CAG reports was demanding the resignation of sitting Chief Minister Sheila Dixit. And he called her names and Miss Dixit sued him for calling her a broker and dalal. Those tweets are still there. Loss due to not obtaining timely permission, 941 crores. Loss due to not retendering surrendered zones, 890 crores. Loss due to incorrect granting of favors to licensees, 144 crores. Loss due to incorrect collection of security deposits, 27 crores. And CAG comes at the back of the Supreme Court that said, and I quote, there was a conspiracy on drafting new excise policy. It was meant to help those who gave kickbacks. PMLA offense was supposed to buy material evidence. VAT was reduced to 1%. 7% excess commission was given, amounting to 338 crore loss to the exchequer. AAP forced a company to give up its 20% market share in favor of another company. But then, Rahul, this is the party, as you said, that celebrates openly anarchy, that publicly implores citizens to elect goons and thugs because BJP must be defeated at all costs, that bought out much of the media with taxpayers' money. It is the same Kejriwal who spent taxpayers' money for paying exorbitant lawyers' fees in cases where he ultimately had to furnish a groveling apology. Even right now, we, the daily taxpayers, are paying for his lawyers' fees. And it is the same Kejriwal who demanded Bharat Ratna for Satinder Jain and Manish Sisodia, both in jail right now, denied bail. Rahul, AAP government ad spending has increased by 4,273% over the last 10 years. 5 CAG reports are not being tabled in the assembly, and repeat requests by the LG to do so are being ignored. There is a massive Jal Board scam concerning illegal tendering in which Kejriwal also has been summoned by the ED. There is a massive Mohallas clinic scam where clinics entered either multiple nines or zeros as mobile numbers of 14,749 ghost patients, so they could be outsourced thousands of tests, payments of which were made to private labs by the state. The High Court recently blasted Kejriwal for installing only 6 CT scan machines in hospitals he runs for 30 million population. This is the famous Kejriwal health model that Dr. Piyush Joshi has mentioned, but no one knows this. As AAP has spent 1,073 crores on ads in the last 3 years, from turning Delhi to London, to cleaning the Yamuna, to removing pollution by stopping farm fires in Punjab that is controlled by AAP. No one has lied as much as Kejriwal. And we haven't even come to the 50 crores Kejri spent on his grand house, money that could have bought thousands of oxygen cylinders, open tens of clinics.
So Anandji can speak for 30 minutes.
Just 10 seconds. It was only a matter of time that even those in the AAP realized it. Well, at least one of them with a conscience has. And of course, his name had to be Anand.
Well, Mr. Dr. Joshi, would you like to respond?
Certainly, I would like to respond. When we talk about so many scams arising out of the governance of the Aam Aadmi Party model, I am surprised that not a single conviction has been obtained in the 8 to 9 odd years of the governance of the Aam Aadmi Party. Everything has been on inquiry level. Everything has been investigated for years and years and years altogether. There's a Jal Board scam, there is a Mohalla Clinic scam, there is an education scam, there is a school board scam. All sorts of scams are there, but not a single conviction. So many MLAs you have put behind bars, so many ministers you have put behind bars. You have raided the premises of each and every minister of Aam Aadmi Party, not recovered a single penny in cash, not recovered any Benami Sampatti in their names, and yet you are all the time harping upon that how corrupt the Aam Aadmi Party is. Let me tell you how corrupt the Aam Aadmi Party is.
Today it's not about corruption.
Come on, Aam Aadmi Party has built Mohalla Clinic for the commoner of Delhi. Aam Aadmi Party has made the education model accessible to the poorest of poor. Yes. Aam Aadmi Party has made to 20,000 liters of of water, clean drinking water available to the average Delhi.
The New York Times should pay attention a little bit to our courts also that expose the rot in some schools in the union capital. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, quick one, and then I want to open this up, please.
Just to rebut my great friend Dr. Joshi, he says, well, so much of scams and corruption has happened. You accuse AAP, Kejriwal of being corrupt. Where are the convictions? By that same logic, I want to ask a simple question to Dr. Joshi. Dr. Joshi, yes or no? Is Modi and Amit Shah corrupt?
Of course.
If electoral bond scam is going to be thoroughly investigated as you are investigating excise policy, yes,
Viewers,
they are corrupt.
Viewers, let me just open this up further.
Yes, they are
let me bring in, it's okay. Mr. Joshi, I have now realized that there are different laws that apply for different individuals, different moral... Okay, gentlemen, please. Different moral scales are used to measure different people. That we have now realized. We are not talking about, and let me bring in the wise Congress leader on the show, Mr. Chaudhary. Look, do you know a gentleman called Mr. Ajay Makan and Mr. Dikshit? Do you know these two individuals?
Of course.
Do you know what they have said about Kejriwal and this particular Delhi excise policy scam?
Yeah, I'm well aware of that.
Is the ED after Mr. Makan and Mr. Dikshit? Have
So
they
what's
been
your
raided?
question out here?
No, I'm asking you,
What's your
have they been
question?
raided? Just answer. These are my questions. I'm asking you this question.
No, if anybody is corrupt, then the investigating
No, I'm
agencies
asking you a
has to be
question. Has
behind them.
Mr. Makan, in your knowledge, or Mr. Dikshit, Sandeep Dikshit, been raided by the Enforcement Directorate?
Not in my knowledge.
Not in your knowledge. Yet, viewers, you know what they have said? They have said that Mr. Kejriwal is guilty. And they are two very leading congressmen.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you, Mr. Kamru Chaudhary, if these congressmen believe this, are they also joining the BJP, or have they got blinkers, or have they been, as I said, raided by the ED? Should you not listen to them? Why is the Congress at the Delhi unit saying that this man is corrupt and what is happening to him is justifiable? And therefore, should the Congress continue to support Mr. Kejriwal?
Now, the question of supporting Mr. Kejriwal on the basis of Rajkumar Anand's statement
No,
is
I'm
totally...
not talking about Anand. You see, this is where you've got overwhelmed by Anand.
No, let me
I'm not talking about Anand. Forget Anand. No, I'm talking about two individuals that belong to your party. They stand vindicated after what the High Court said yesterday. Are they wrong?
No,
Yes
I
or no?
cannot say... No, Anand.
Anand, again Anand.
The basic point, because you know my good friend Anand Ranganathan is sitting here. You know, I just cannot keep silent without mentioning
Anand,
him.
Anand.
Or admiring him.
Very happy,
Basically, coming back to the point.
No, I'm asking you, sir. The point is this. There is no other point. The point is, should Mr. Kejriwal, can he evade moral onus? He asked your leaders, starting from Dr. Manmohan Singh, to quit. On what? So-called flimsy charges that the Congress dismissed as flimsy charges, even though investigations were going on by the CBI in those matters, Colgate, 2G, OG, Sunoji, all those cases. So I'm asking you, sir, if Mr. Kejriwal could demand the resignation of an entity that held a constitutional post like Dr. Manmohan Singh, on the grounds of a CAG report, not even a CBI or a court indictment, then can I ask you, sir, should Mr. Kejriwal apply that principle to himself, yes or no?
Of course he should be.
Of course he should be.
Of course. Now
Mr.
the point
Piyush
that I want...
Joshi, did you hear that? This is your ally saying that
Rahul,
he should apply the same yardstick. So then,
Rahul,
Mr.
Rahul, there
Chaudhary,
cannot be...
why is the Congress not asking him to do so?
Who said Congress is not asking about it? We have been repeatedly saying right from 2012 that you craft a narrative, you peddle a narrative and you get an Arvind Kejriwal. There is no doubt about it. That the way he has bemoaned our Congress party's leaders, he has criticized all the scams that are...
So then why isn't the Congress paying him back in his own coin?
Wait a minute. We first and foremost, let me tell you, the difference between seat adjustment in an election and an alliance is absolutely different.
Sir, here the conscience adjustment ho raha hai. The conscience has got adjusted. The BJP spokesperson wants to come in and take you on this point.
Rahul, let me finish, please. Let me finish,
No, to defeat Mr. Modi. To defeat Mr. Modi.
Not to defeat the Modi. Modi is a narrative that has been peddled across the country.
Sir,
he's a nobody.
The narrative is 1303 seats and the confidence of of 38% of the Indian population. 1 second, let me bring in the BJP spokesperson.
I have not even spoken yet. Okay. This is not fair.
Okay.
You wait for me then.
Modi is nobody. Compared
Sir,
to the
what
fight
are you saying? Let's answer the question.
Can I-
Don't waste my time and the viewers' time by saying Modi is nobody. He's won an election, sir. Not one, two.
That's what
okay, just
you have
Tuhin
to
Sinha, respond.
Rahul, good
I
evening,
can
everybody.
understand this point you're making.
There is no point asking the Congress party why they have bent before Arvind Kejriwal, because honestly, this Congress party has no self-dignity. Forget the corruption charges that Arvind Kejriwal had leveled against the Congress party, the kind of language which they had used for Rajiv Gandhi inside the assembly, Delhi assembly. If after that, they bend and make the Aam Aadmi Party their partner, it only shows this Congress party has no self-dignity. But coming back to Mr. Kejriwal, it is another shameful day in the history of Aam Aadmi Party where his colleague or ex-colleagues like Mr. Anand have to play conscience keeper for Mr. Kejriwal, and yet
No, they are
Mr.
saying the ED knocked on his door,
conscience-
so he basically ran
No,
and has decided to dump Mr. Kejriwal.
These are absurd, baseless,
No, ED
wild
did knock on his
allegations.
door.
No,
It's
the
not absurd.
ED can ask, ED can reach out to him to be the witness. Quite possible,
No,
right?
but he was raided.
No, he was not raided. I don't think the ED had reached out to him. Possibly it could have been to be the witness. See, the point
press
is
release
that-
out here.
Okay,
I've got
anyhow,
the ED
the
press
fact
release
of the
out
matter
here.
is, viewers,
Rahul,
look,
there were
Can I
certain
whether
words
Mr.
used
Anand
by-
has
there were
quit,
certain words
whether
used
Mr.
by-
Anand has
there were
quit
certain words
under
used by-
duress.
before you
That's why I was saying, we shouldn't even get into this Anand matter. It's the High Court. These Anands confused everybody. Don't get into the Anand matter. Viewers, my simple, basic question was today. If Mr. Kejriwal says that every other leader who is tainted, i.e. brushed with charges, should quit, should he not apply that same yardstick to himself? Fundamental question, and I don't understand why we got tangled in so many different webs today. It's a simple question. Apply unto yourself what you expect others to do. Simple. Yes or no, viewers, you can tweet me and let me know. I'm taking a very short break. I'll be